Hey little buddies, that's right, it's your boy Tim Cant here for Loopmasters, and today we're going to be facing the greatest challenge in all of music production. That's right, we're going to be making a Neuro D&B drop. Now, I know what you want to ask, do you have to be incel to make Neuro D&B? And you don't have to be incel, but it does help. I'll tell you what else helps, having a Maztek X Neurofunk basement sample library, which is exactly what we're going to use right now. Let's check it out. Okay, so the first thing I did to make this drop was to find a beat and a bass that sounded good together. I selected Hit That, Break 01 and Filthy Sine Bass 02. These worked together decently enough, but I decided I wanted to have the maximum level of control over the mix, so I made my own two-step or one-shot beat pattern with kick 02 and snare 02. I wanted that low-end push on the snare, so I used FabFilter Pro Q2 to boost its fundamental frequency, which before that was actually quieter than the second harmonic. I wanted to hit that break to sit alongside the one-shots I just created, so I sliced it up into a two-step pattern, then high-passed out the lows with Pro Q, and roughed it up a bit with D16 group Decimort 2 to turn it into just a crusty ride top. I used the S20 High preset for this, which I also used on the other instances of Decimort 2 in this tutorial. Naturally, I wanted the Reese bass to flow with the beat, so I cut it up into a new funky syncopated pattern and put a cheeky little bit of pitch shifting in there. I also used EQ to take away some subs so that I had room to add my own sub and apply Decimort 2 as well. To create a bit of variation in the Reese, I decided to use another sample, so I selected Neuro Syn Bass 01 and cut this up a bit to fit with the original Reese in a call and response fashion. There's also a tiny bit of pitch shifting on one of these slices so that it fits with the rest of the groove. To make a sub, I used Extra Record Serum. It's just a sine oscillator with a bit of drive on it, something you can make in almost any synth. And a little tip, it can be sometimes a bit hard to hear what's going on with your sub, so I tried pitching it up a few octaves just to make sure that I could hear it wasn't all over the place musically. At this point, the low end is dealt with, but the beats need some tops, so I used 170 Rides 2 to make a ride cymbal sample and a Hat 03 to make a hat. I also used Snare 05 to make a ghost snare, using Pro Key to take out some of the lows and add a bit of mid so that it sat naturally with the rest of the beat. Okay, so we've got the drop, but we need to make sure that we get that impact when we transition from the breakdown to the drop. So I needed to knock up a little something for the breakdown. I started with F pad, which was in the right key for the project, that's F, and I also selected Atmos Riser 01, which I had to pitch shift to get it into the right key, and I also time stretched it around a bit to fit. Note that this riser fades up and the pad fades out before the drop, assisting the transition. I added the filtered break and the hats from the beat to introduce some rhythm before the drop, but it still felt like the Reese was coming out of nowhere, so I made a duplicate Reese track and high-passed it in using Pro Q to introduce the sound before the drop. I also wanted to put a little hook in there, so I selected Synth 12, put a little bit of reverb on there. This plays on the last 8th note before the drop, and I felt like it's not really well there, so I also added it during the drop rollout section too. See what you think. To help get everything as loud as possible and assist the kick and the snare punching through the mix, I put sidechain compression triggered from the kick and the snare on the Reese group, the sub, the synth hook, and the ride cymbal. I also used some isotope neutron 2 transient processing on the beat group to give it a little bit of extra punch. Finally, a whacked isotope ozone 8 maximizer on the master. Boom! Okay, we are done. That is a wrap. And hey, maybe I was ragging it a little bit hard with the gain reduction at the end there. But hey, it's my party. I can do what I want. In your productions, you can do what you want. But remember to come back and join us next time for some more how-to action.